We begin CBS2 News at 5 with breaking news. A brush fire that's already burned more than 300 acres.
It's burning in the Winchester area, and Stu Mendel has been over this for the last several minutes. Let's join him now in Sky 2 with more. Stu.
Well, this fire moved very, very quickly. It started out right by a home out here, right by Royal Netherlands and Rawson. I think we can get you that shot as we move out a little bit and find that one piece of property. We actually saw that house earlier on, and there was actually crime tape around it. So that's probably the ignition spot right in this area right there. And it shows you how quickly this will burn when you have these light fuels like grass and just a little bit of wind. We understand 5 to 10 mile-an-hour winds. And then, of course, a little bit of uphill terrain, and boom, 300 acres in less than an hour. Now, CAL FIRE is out here. The men and women of CAL FIRE are basically in the air. They've got the fixed-wing aircraft, and then they have some helicopters dropping water on a couple of hot spots around the edges. Then we have some video from earlier on when one of those big C-130s was doing a Phos-Check drop. Phos-Check is that red stuff that's coming out the back. It's basically flame retardant. They don't have any containment numbers on this fire as of yet, but they're putting those lines on this side of the fire, basically the south side of the fire, because the north side is actually a lake. If there's any good news to report about this fire, it may be fast moving, but it's basically moving towards a lake that's going to be Diamond Valley Lake. Again, this is happening in the Winchester area out in Riverside County. Live in Sky 2, I'm Stu Mendel. Back to you guys in the studio.
I just want to express my gratitude for just all the love.
The victim's son speaks out as investigators arrest the boyfriend of the woman killed in the Aliso Viejo explosion.
Now, that Long Beach man was also a business partner of the victim in Tuesday's explosion. He made an appearance in federal court.
Prosecutors have now laid out the evidence they have against Stephen Beal. And
CBS2 Orange County reporter Michelle Gili is live at the courthouse in Santa Ana with the late breaking details. Michelle.
And we want to stress that no one yet has been arrested suspected of killing this day spa owner, Ildiko Kraniak, but a man, as you said, by the name of Stephen Beal, who is identified in court documents as her ex-boyfriend, has been arrested by the feds on an unrelated weapons charge. Now, according to the documents, the pair dated up until a couple of months ago, and they are in fact partners in the spa where the explosion happened. The ex-boyfriend of the South Orange County woman killed in Tuesday's violent explosion in an Aliso Viejo day spa was in federal court this afternoon on an unrelated explosives charge. At the same time, federal officials released details about the investigation and the search at Stephen Beal's Long Beach home. Agents seized 2 improvised explosive devices and 3 firearms, documents reveal. A 7-foot-tall rocket and 130 pounds of explosives. Beal allegedly told authorities that he was an amateur rocket enthusiast, but that was more than a decade ago. The criminal complaint outlines what witnesses saw as a device blew up inside of the building at 11 Marablu, killing Ildiko Kraniak. 2 women in the spa told investigators that they saw lots of mail piled up along with 3 to 4 brown cardboard boxes. As soon as Kraniak opened the box, victim 2 stated that the box exploded and recalled being blown backward by the explosion onto the floor. She also saw flames and smoke. Weapons experts, the complaint details, found evidence in the debris that included a 9-volt battery, a cellular telephone, melted material that appeared to be duct tape, and loose wires. Meantime, in the neighborhood where 48-year-old Ildiko Kraniak lived, her neighbors tied ribbons around the trees to honor her. Orange was her favorite color. Her only son, Keanu, a college student at the University of Washington, flew home this afternoon to be with his father and grandmother. He talked about the shock of his mother's death.
There's just so many things that we don't know yet, and there's so many unknown things, and there's it's just also sudden that a lot of this is still very raw and still really hard to process for everybody.
Now, the FBI has sent evidence from the explosion to its lab in Virginia in the hopes of getting clues as to who may be responsible for this murder. And also in the court documents, Stephen Beal, that man arrested on the unrelated explosives charge, told investigators that he saw media coverage of the explosion, and he told them that he doesn't have material that would cause an explosion that large. Live in Santa Ana. Back to you.
Thank you, Michelle. Now, some people in Stanton are on edge after a man was found shot dead inside a car. It happened around midnight at the Catella Estates mobile home park. Someone called 911 after hearing gunfire.
Orange County deputies found a man shot to death inside a silver Cadillac in front of the office. The victim's identity hasn't been released. Detectives want neighbors who might have heard or seen something to come forward to help catch the killer.
Deputies hope new security video will help solve the murder of a 16-year-old girl in Linwood. This happened near Euclid Avenue and Long Beach Boulevard back on November 23rd of 2016. Dana Rojo Rivas was in a car with her mother heading home from church. That's when they got caught in the middle of a car-to-car chase. Someone started firing and the 16-year-old was hit. Investigators say this new video gives a better view of the shooter's car. Dana would have turned 18 in 2 weeks had she lived. Her mother says she's still heartbroken and misses her daughter every day.
I lived with her 16 years of my life, and then I woke up with her every single day because I'm a single mom. Until the last day she was sleeping next to me because we were friends talking by night, telling us stories, talking about school, about work. She was my best friend besides my baby. So it didn't break my life in half. It just took my whole life.
Deputies are looking for at least 2 suspects. A $30,000 reward is being offered for any information.
West Covina police say a traffic stop last week led to one of the city's largest gun seizures. They say officers pulled over 28-year-old Andrew Jose Solis of La Puente for a traffic violation.
Well, that's when the officer found 9 handguns and 5 assault rifles, including an AK-47 in the vehicle. Police say Solis is a convicted felon. He was arrested on a number of charges.
Scientists warned us, and now it's happening. The Kilauea volcano's summit has exploded. The anticipated eruption is sending toxic plumes of ash and gas high above Hawaii, and that has officials taking extra precautions to protect people. CBS2 Susie Sa is live with the incredible pictures of nature at its most violent.
Yeah.
Susie.
Suzanne, it's getting so bad out there that officials are now handing out masks on the big island of Hawaii so that people don't have to breathe in that deadly sulfur dioxide spewing out of that volcano. I want to take you to some video right now. Look at this. Here's what they're looking at as they drive around. A giant ash and smoke cloud stretching 30,000 feet into the air. Imagine that. Now, from the air, it's just as incredible as the summit appears to be calm right now. But as one volcano expert warns, don't get too comfortable.
What we saw today, this cloud up to 30,000 feet above sea level, that's consistent with what we were expecting. And so, we could expect similar events to happen in the future as these kind of interactions between the groundwater and the lava continue.
Now, the FAA has stopped all planes from entering airspace up to 30,000 feet above from the volcano. Officials are warning those around that zone, the hot zone, to stay indoors and ride it out because they don't know what's going to happen next. Back to you.
Thank you, Susie. Coverage of the Hawaii volcano explosion continues tonight at 6. We talked to a local expert about the dangerous situation on the island.
A horrific scene where a school bus filled with kids crashed with a dump truck on a New Jersey highway, killing 2 people. The impact of that crash was so violent, it sheared off the front of the school bus, which ended up flipped on its side. 1 child and an adult chaperone were reportedly killed. 45 others were hurt. The 5th graders were on a field trip to a historic site when the bus crashed on Interstate 80 in Mount Olive Township.
This is a devastation right now for our community, for the families involved, for the Eastbrook Middle School, for the children to have to be, the children that were involved.
Federal investigators are trying to figure out what caused that crash.
Outgoing LAPD Chief Charlie Beck today won a temporary restraining order against a woman who did this to him last week.
Next time, I ain't scared. Let's go. Sheila. Man, shut up. You touch me at home. I swear to God.
On May 8th, Sheila Hines Brim threw what she said were the ashes of her dead niece at Beck during a police commission meeting. Waukesha Wilson died in police custody in 2016. It was ruled a suicide. Hines Brim must now stay at least 100 yards away from him, his home, and his work. Hines Brim can still attend police commission and other public meetings, but must stay at least 5 yards away from the chief.
While developing news on the DACA fight on Capitol Hill, lawmakers are close to being forced to vote on whether to protect hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants brought here as children. CNN reports moderate House Republicans are about 5 signatures away from invoking a discharge position. Now that's when a bill bypasses committee and leadership hurdles and goes directly to the House floor for consideration. Speaker Paul Ryan is against this. We will keep you posted.
For the first time in U.S. history, a woman is leading the country's top spying agency. The Senate today confirmed Gina Haspel to be the next director of the CIA. Last week, she was reportedly close to withdrawing over concerns about her participation in the agency's torture program. Senator John McCain, a former POW, opposed the nomination. Haspel replaces Mike Pompeo, who's now Secretary of State.
Well, 1 year ago today, former FBI Director Robert Mueller took on a new job, looking at Russia's meddling in the 2016 election and who played a part in it.
The special counsel has been under fire since taking on the role. When it was first announced, President Trump said a thorough investigation will confirm what we already know: there was no collusion.
Today, he's calling it the greatest witch hunt in American history. The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who was brought in to focus on the probe, says it's time to wrap it up.
Mueller should now bring this to a close. It's been a year. He's gotten 1.4 million documents. He's interviewed 28 witnesses, and he has nothing.
Mueller so far has secured guilty pleas from 4 former Trump campaign members.
But none of them has been charged with collusion. More than a dozen others have been indicted, including former campaign chairman Paul Manafort.
A reality star charges a popular rapper with spreading revenge porn on the web. Details on the lawsuit just filed.
Honey, I'm going ice.
This racial rant is going viral, but it's not the first time this attorney has made headlines. We'll explain coming up.
And Elon Musk is tunneling toward the future. New details on his underground traffic tunnels.
Hey everybody, I'm Garth Kemp, getting ready to make the break towards the weekend. Your forecast is on the way.